So welcome everyone. My name is Nelly Kwasunwe, and I'm a mother, founder of Clarify Thy Uniqueness, and an empath. Rediscover your superpowers. I will just start by asking a question so it can just like tickle us to start thinking. Your superpowers, do you consider them to be a blessing or a curse? So that one should just be at the back of your head while we go on. So for today, we will talk about what superpowers are, the importance of the superpowers, identifying them, the blocks to knowing what your superpowers are, and how you can boost and maintain your inner powers. So I will start by talking a bit about myself. I am Nelly, and I'm an introvert and an empath. Knowing my superpowers was not a day's job. I remember when I was younger, when I was a child, I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to help people. I was curious when I found out that my friends were angry and stayed angry for such a long time. I did not know how to be angry and to stay angry for more than 2 minutes. But then without that experience, I did not know how or what caused people to stay in negative feelings for such a long time. So I was really curious to know how I can help. Not until I got in my mid-20s when I experienced being angry and staying angry for days, weeks, months. And that was due to emotional abuse that I experienced in my marriage. But the good thing is, it gave me a lot of experience because I lived to that experience. So it helped me to know what triggers people to get angry. And most of all, that feeling of staying angry for such a long time. So then I had been like suppressing my inner power. Not until I had an experience that completely changed me. I was struggling to discipline my children. And that thing that triggered me was when I found a suicide note in one of my children's bedrooms. The woman and the person in my stomach, which I call my superpower, was ready to take action. I was taking action, but I was really scared because I did not want to stand out from the others. I needed to be approved by others. So I was playing small. But then it came to a stage where I knew I was really angry with myself because I was having internal conflicts. I was not happy. I was angry, getting aggressive, and I did not like the person I was becoming. So I decided to begin this journey to really know the person I am. It wasn't easy, even just knowing that I am still an introvert. But growing up, I was described as a shy girl. And I thought it's because I don't like to speak. It's not that I don't know what to speak, but it's just that speaking seemed to be a lot of effort. But I listened to everyone's word. So then I said, I need to find out who I am. I did a lot of research, did a lot of reading, engaged in groups and activities. I did so many tests. We have this psychometric test online. So I did the first one was my personality. I found out I was an introvert and I was like, okay, that has given me a bit of answer. It's like giving me some certainty. Then starting to look into the introvert, I realized that I am an empath. that was not very, very comfortable. I kept on looking. I did the Myers-Briggs personality test, and I am an INFP, which is an introvert, just feeler. Again, I was like, no, I don't want to be that person. So many things went on. Like, I remember once a cousin of mine was in hospital, and I went to visit. As I got there, she had given birth. As I got into the hospital and I carried this baby, I was like, oh, this is the same baby I carried. And one of my cousins turned and looked at me, and she was like, what are you talking about? This baby was born just last night, and today is the first time you've come to the hospital. So what are you talking about? And then I remembered that I carried that child in my dreams. So then I stopped talking about things. I preferred not to just say things when I think of them, because I knew that probably because I thought probably I will not be saying what I had to say, because people will be looking at me to be different, not really doing the things that I'm meant to do. So that's the reason I stopped telling people about the things that I thought. So I decided that when I think about things, I will not talk about them, because I felt that I was just really weird. And I just said, no, I wouldn't. But those were some of the conflicts that I was having within me, that I was so scared to accept me for who I am, because I did not want to be different. But then I realized that they're just part of me. And if I don't accept, then I will not be whole, the person that I am. So I started accepting, but I was very, very careful what I said. So that made me to be more reserved, because when I think of something, I didn't know much about intuition, but I was learning about that. So when I heard or felt something, I will have to filter it before I say it, not to embarrass myself. So I have been on that journey to rediscover my superpowers, because it's just unfolding as time goes on. So I spoke with other people who were really curious about their superpowers as well, which is why I decided to make this video. So we will go on this journey together. So as we go along, I will be giving a bit of myself. And then by the end of the slides, we will have open discussions, so we see where people are and their experiences regarding their superpowers in their lives. So thank you for that. So we'll go to superpowers. What are superpowers actually? Every individual is born with innate abilities, skills, and talents. Everyone has them, but they vary. No two are the same. Even if they are the same, the way the people operate with them are slightly different, which is what makes each and every one unique and special. However, when growing up, some of our innate abilities are lost. Why are they lost? We may ask. I think we'll just hold on with that to talk about it later. What are the blocks? We'll just look at why is it important for us to know our superpowers. It will help you to know who you really are, so that you can function in a more higher level. It'll keep you ahead of many things. For instance, if you want to make a career choice, instead of dabbling around or just thinking, oh, I'll go for this job because of the money and all other things, it will give you a guide path that you go for a career or a job that is in line with your purpose. It will help you with your personal growth and development and how you can impact other people's lives. Superpowers doesn't only mean the positive side of it. You have the strength and the lesser strength. And knowing your lesser strength will make you whole. And it will reveal your uniqueness. And again, your contribution to society. So, identifying your superpowers. I'll just be talking about this. I'll be reading these questions, and any of the points that resonate with you, just take note of them. I will be chipping in a bit of my own experience. So the first one is, what comes naturally to you? Just think about yours and take note of that. For mine is helping people. When I'm having conversations with people, I tend to go very deep. Even before I got used to coaching, I didn't realize that it was because I am an empath. I used to ask questions that were not superficial, but they were really deep. So it's in this process of my self-discovery that I realized that that's one of my superpowers. And it enables people to think, or it makes people think that I am a good listener. So just think about it. What is yours? What comes to you naturally? What fills you with passion? What is that thing that you really like doing? It could be your hobby. For me, is gardening and being in nature. I like dancing just to release all the stress and all whatnot. What is yours? What is your passion? The third, what makes time disappear for you? What is that thing that when you start doing, you are just immersed in it and you don't even realize that the time has gone? For me, I know I'm very, very curious. I read books, though I'm not a fast reader. It takes me ages to read books, but whatever I read, I really enjoy it. And I tend to spend a lot of time on whatever I'm reading. And I'm so curious to know how the mind works. So I tend to read books around the mind, not just novels. The fourth is, what makes you different? What makes you weird? What makes you imperfect? For me, I know I'm just so odd in so many things. Sometimes I look at myself and it seems as if I don't believe who I am because of some of the things that are weird. I remember when I was much younger, I used to lick, my tongue was that long that it touched the top of my nose. I don't know if any of you know that. So that was one of the things that I knew I was really weird about. The fifth one is, what do friends ask for advice about? For me, from being in primary school, my friends used to come to me asking for advice on things that I didn't even know. For instance, why they were angry. At that time, I didn't have the experience. But because at that time, I was really curious. I was reading books, especially novels. Sometimes I just provided them with the advice that I knew at the time, and they would thank me for it. And as I grew older, people continued to come to me for advice, like on social aspects, relationships, and all whatnot. And I just provide them. I didn't have any professional qualifications, but it's just from like watching movies, reading books, and my daily interactions with other people. So just anything that someone struggles with. So think about it. What is yours? What do your friends come to you for advice about? The sick is, what did you love to do as a child? For me, I had a number of things that I liked doing as a child. I could play 24 hours if I was allowed to. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to play for that long. I had just a few hours to play in a day. But one thing that I did was that I loved going to the garden. We had different fruits planted. And what I used to do is I would go to the garden. I knew the day that fruits would get ripe because I monitored each and every one of them. So what I used to do was I would go there and get the leaves and cover the fruits so that no one else, my siblings, my parents, would not see that. But then when I go to the garden, I'll just go and pick it because I know where it is. So they were like, oh, how comes you go there and you just find a ripe fruit, but then no one else finds the fruit? I'm like, I'm wise. So that was one of the things. I mean, just thinking about it now is, hmm. And the last question is, what would you do if money did not matter? For me, if money did not matter, I would like to travel because I'm so curious to know how things operate. And traveling is not something that I have done much. So for me, traveling, I think it just comes from me being really, really curious because I like to know things. So just think about yours and take note of them. At the end, we'll have a discussion. So now I talked about the blocks before, and I said we'll talk about it after. This is a section for the blocks. So why is it that we struggle to know what our superpowers are? When we are children, we know our superpowers, though not all superpowers come with a cape. But as children, we know. And when we are growing, we have that influence from our environment. It could be our parents, our siblings, other family members, community teachers, employers, all those around us. They start imposing their own beliefs on us to the extent that we forget those our own inner powers. And because we people like to be socially accepted, we forget about ourselves and concentrate on what others want us to do. Society put a lot of expectations on us, and without providing us with the tools to deal with it, it contributes to us forgetting about who we are. We tend to be pleasers so that we get that acknowledgement from others. And we get to a stage where we have that internal conflict because we want to be ourselves, but then we fear that if we attempt to be ourselves, then we will be rejected or any kind of fears that are around. Sometimes we might know what these superpowers are, but we block ourselves because we are in denial. Like if you remember, I said when I started realizing who I am, I did not want to accept. And this really affects our confidence, our self-esteem, how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world. So if we don't accept ourselves, then we will not be authentic. We'll just be doing things that our bodies or our real self doesn't want us to do. There will be other blogs, but for today, these are just the 5 blogs that I will talk about. You might have other blogs, or you might have noticed other blogs yourself. Just take note of those, and at the end, you will share. So then, how can we boost and maintain inner power? Search for what feels different and meaningful for you. That one shows how unique you are. Because if you do what comes from your heart, it is probably what you are. But if you do something and you start feeling guilty, think about it, where that is coming from and why that conflict. Create your inner hero. If you ask a child their hero, they know, they'll just tell you. Develop to rediscover who your inner hero is. And we know when there's a hero, there's a villain. So put your villain's voice in their place. This villain is like that noisy chatterbox in your head that tells you, you can't do this, you can't do that, you are bad. You know that voice. I'm sure most of us, we can identify the voices. Some people call them saboteurs. There are just different names that we call those, that chatter voice. It tells you only the negative things. You have not done this right. You could have done it this way. They just judge you and judge you all along. So identify those villains and put them in their place, because you as a hero, you need to be the victor. Name your superpower. When you give it a name, you externalize it and express it in different contexts, because that gives you more power that you can control that superpower. Because instead of just leaving it to do whatever you feel about it, you are in control of it. That's how you can boost your superpowers. To maintain it, there are just so many ways that you can do to maintain your superpowers. I'm sure most of us have heard of get grounded. We hear of vibration. We hear of energies. There are just so many of those terms used. But to get grounded, you have techniques like meditation, mindfulness, visualization, contemplation. I know you would have many more, but I can't list all of them here. Spend time alone to charge up. This might be a point for introverts who charge up when they are alone, but probably it will be different for extroverts. It depends on which one works for you. For myself, I charge up when I am alone. I spend alone time. I remember some of my acquaintances or some people who know me, they call me antisocial, lone wolf. and all sorts. I accept it because I know that's who I am. And there's just no point for me to be explaining to them why I am the way I am, because that's just how I was created. If I had the choice, probably I could have wanted some other personality. But no, I just like the way I am. So regardless of what names I am called, it is their opinion and it's got nothing to do with the person I am. The next point to maintain your superpower is to exercise self-love. If we are not authentic, if we are not truthful with ourselves, just imagine, how will you love yourself? So self-love, it entails a lot of things. Something that might take us far from being able to love ourselves is unforgiveness, being ungrateful, not being compassionate, being angry. It will be very difficult for us to love ourselves. So there's a lot of inner work to be done so you can be able to be your true self and accept you for who you are. You were born into this earth for a reason. You have a purpose, regardless of what goes on around you. So if you dig deep, then you will be able to identify your superpowers and maintain them. Work on your beliefs. We develop beliefs that some of them are not ours, but from our society. And knowing that some of our core beliefs are limiting because of our past experiences, it just holds us back. Because when we want to think of making progress, but then we reflect on our past negative experiences, fear holds us back and we don't want to take action. And sometimes we don't even realize that we are being held back because of our beliefs, because those beliefs were formed several years ago and we've been using the same strategies to the extent that they became unconscious. So it's not something that you just think about that, oh, my belief. You need to do some inner work to identify your beliefs. Then you have the mindset. Coming up from a scarcity mindset, again, from a place of lack, we fear. Fear is a major thing. So if you do the inner work, you will realize that you have some blocks. There are just so many types of blocks. So work on those blocks to know who really you are, what you want to be, what your superpowers are, and then you go for it. Because you are unique, you are special. There's just so much potential in you. I just decided to put these different characteristics just to identify some of the imperfections and weirdness of people. And I say, your imperfections and weirdness makes you unique and special. Embrace your uniqueness and live a purposeful life.
I've taken a lot of things from it. I've learned a lot from it. So thank you. I appreciate
I'm pleased to
this.
hear that. Okay.
I'm going to be thinking about this and doing some soul searching and just going over everything that you said today and kind of do some journaling about it and kind of reflect on it and see what I can do to improve my life.
Just going to mention that my key takeaway is that it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was
Catherine,
thinking
and
I was
Correct.
thinking something similar. It's
okay.
talking about being satisfied. It's like, well, when are you going to be satisfied? You
Mm.
know?
You know?
And so you're not being happy because you're not satisfied. That just is crazy. So
Sheer
yeah.
madness.
I mean, when I say you, I mean you. Sorry,
Yeah,
not
I
you.
understand that. I understand.
Yeah.
We are all referring to ourselves. As
Yeah,
Mhm,
exactly.
mhm.
Exactly. So, and yeah, for me, actually, I thought your questions are really good now. So I will actually ponder on those a bit more to see, you know, sort of if I come up with any gems.
Okay. Oh, thank you all so much. It was a nice 1.5 hours spending with you. So I wish
Yeah.
you all the best.
Yeah,
Thank you very
nice to
much
meet
for
you
having
both.
us.
I'll keep in
Ashley,
touch.
Catherine.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
It was a
Okay,
pleasure.
bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
then.
Bye-bye. Bye.